and I didn't know why, like, I was always like, if they, once they're not walking, it's like, they're not gonna give you nothing. That's kinda how I feel like they're doing my son, I don't know. I don't know why.
You know, I disagree with you. You know, the discussion came were different from what I remember. But it's something we can talk into.
Yeah, I just didn't understand that, you know, because he is not walking. And every child is different, but still, it's like you don't know what to do, you know, because he is not on steroids and he does have issues, you know, he has learning issues and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no one set, it seems like. We
One
don't
set
know what
of-
we're supposed to be doing, like with treatment, you know.
Well, again, at this point, the issue is steroids or not. And personally, I think it's a family decision because, as I said, I cannot guarantee that it's going to work. And then the other thing also, some kids take it and they have no problem, and some kids take a small dose and then they have major side effects. So it's one of those where, again, you know, it's not like an ear infection, you take your antibiotics and you fix it. Unfortunately, it's not that simple.
But I mean, they don't just say, okay, because your child's not longer walking, he doesn't need steroids?
You're never going to hear me say that in clinic, ever. Because the person who trained me
Well, you did say that
pull my ear.
you didn't like to do that, though. You did say that you didn't want steroid treatment. That you don't like to do that, you want to be more natural. To me, you did. Street in clinic.
I have a couple of witnesses, so next time you come in clinic, I'm going to record the meeting.
No, I'm not trying to attack or anything.
No, I'm not saying
I
that.
wanna know the fact, that's why I'm here. I'm sure a lot of them.
But again, I think you have a different memory of what we talked about in clinic, because again.
I think a lot of times when we go into clinic, you know, there are these facts and you kind of hear where their viewpoint is, but he's not going to steer you one way or another. He's going to present you with the facts, and as parents, let you make that decision for your child. So that's where you kind of have to
My personal philosophy has always been, my job is to give you the facts and you make a decision. Because a lot of time, you know, in training, I had many instances where people felt cornered, felt forced to do something by the provider. And I promised myself I would never do that. So sometimes people will feel like maybe I'm lackadaisical, and it's not that. I don't want you to feel that I'm pressuring you one way or the other.
Yeah.
There seem to be, I've had the privilege of taking a tour of Dr. Alexander's lab and his patient, and I feel so hopeful that new things are happening. It seems to me like we've been in the dark ages and suddenly come out into the light with how to treat people and to have them having a healthier lifestyle for longer. Is this just my impression because I'm late to this? You get interested in something when you're directly affected by it.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, the advances we've made in the past, if you look at medicine overall in the past 10, 15 years, I mean, it's, you know, exponential. I mean, we have, if you think about the human genome, you know, we just,
Is that what did it?
yeah, well, it's not, I can't just say it's one thing, but it's helped so much. I mean, we now know, you know, every single base that exists in your body. We know how, you know, what makes it up. And, you know, initially when we did these types of, just to map out every single base, they took, you know, many months, even years. And now we can, there's a desktop machine that's called, Watson or something like that, where it can analyze all that DNA in a matter of hours. And so that wasn't possible even 10 years ago. And we now even, I didn't mention stuff like gene editing, where we can go back in these models and make a patient-specific mutation. So if you have an exon 2 mutation, we can now edit in that mutation using things what's called CRISPR and gene editing. And we couldn't do that even 5 years ago. I mean, not very efficiently. And so I think you're going to start to see a lot more of these really specific types of ways we approach diseases in these next few years. I mean, Pierre, do you want to?
Yeah, so I would say that what he's talking about, that editing the gene, I first heard about it about 3 years ago, and now it's kind of it's kind of the thing in vogue. So hopefully, again, they'll be able to go fast, and we'll be able to do more for the patients.
I'm so grateful for men and women like you who are devoting their lives to this. It has such an impact on every person and the extended family.
We appreciate all you guys fundraising.
They need to do more
appreciate
things
it.
like this, because there's not much around in Birmingham. There's not many things for that to help this particular disease. There really isn't. Yeah.
We appreciate all you guys, what you guys do, and like making your congressmen and congresswomen aware, and just, you know,
Oh, yeah.
things like the MD Care Act and stuff like that, you know, it's you guys talking to them and making them aware about, you know, putting more money into research and finding,
Exactly.
you know, cures. So, yeah.
So the results you talked about with the Viagra, has that gone to a clinical trial? Has that, it has? So that is a course of action at some point, or a
It
course of
didn't pan out,
treatment?
unfortunately.
I'm sorry?
It didn't pan out on patients, unfortunately.
I'm just not.
When they tried it on patients, on patients with Duchenne, it didn't really make a difference.
Oh.
So they have to go back to
missed
the
that.
drawing
Okay.
board and see.
But in the lab, it seemed to
Correct.
work.
Correct.
But it didn't have any real effect on the patient, so it was a clinical trial that.
Correct.
they-
That's why I have to be careful, because a lot of times, you know, all neurologists will tell you, you know, they've treated Duchenne many times on the MDX mouse, but when you go next step, it doesn't pan out. So that's why I have to be very careful.
If it doesn't work in Duchenne, would it work in another type of muscular dystrophy?
Yes,
Is
it
that-
could, it could, it could.
So every study is individual, like the
Correct.
Duchenne model would be.
Correct, correct.
Would it help our boys' muscles if you gave them some kind of dietary protein supplement?
Supplements, again, the question is going to be what's to go behind it. So that's why more and more, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm looking more into, you know, healthy lifestyle and things like that. And I would say, to me, there's a place for dietary, healthy diet, high antioxidant, and that's where, again, you know, come clinic out, you're going to hear more and more talk about things like, you know, flaxseed and blueberries and pomegranate and, you know, and so on and so on. So, yes, in my mind, there's a place for that, because I think you have nothing to lose to try that, because we know in other disease model, it makes a difference. And we know the body of a patient with Duchenne is stressed by all the overwork. So definitely that should help get the body, you know, stay as healthy as possible. Yes?
I know I've been giving my son, I've been doing a little research myself on different things, which I'm sure a lot of parents do.
Mhm.
There's a lot of information out there in the World Wide Web. But I've been giving my son creatine and BCAA and glutamine. And I mix it up into like a milkshake, and it seems to help. I don't know, some I'm saying it's a cure, I know that, but it's helping him to stay a little bit stronger, because he is starting to lose a lot more function. And that's what you don't like seeing as a parent.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
it's already bad that they
Yes.
can't walk, but then when they start losing all ability.
Correct, correct.
And that's all I want, is to try to keep that from going any further. But also the CoQ10, and then also there's a thing called clear lungs, and it's a Chinese herb.
Okay.
And that's been helping him, because they said, when we went to clinic last time, Dylan's lungs looked better.
Mhm.
And he's not on a breathing apparatus or anything. So we've been giving that to him as well, and that seems to help. So if any mothers or anything want to know, I don't mind saying that, and it's all natural, you know, and it does seem to help. I just wanted to throw that there, because it's like you said, supplements are good, you know, and it's your discretion. You know how you wanna take it or not, but I do. I wanna do anything, I don't care about money. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but what I do have, I will spend it on him to help.
Yeah, but I think also you have to be careful with the supplements, because a lot of times people are using stuff that's been proven not to make a world of difference. So you have to be careful. Creatine is shown to help with, you know, kind of increase energy and things like that. Glutamine potentially helps with muscle regeneration and all that. But the problem is there's no data, there's no trial showing that, yes, if you do it at this dose, it's going to make a world of difference. And that's where the problem is.
Myostatin inhibitor. So that basically is gonna protect the muscles and everything and from, not protect it, but make it less stressful on them from everything that's going around.
Correct.
Does that have anything to do with the exon skipping? Do the
No, it's
muscles
different.
have to be any kind of, okay.
No, so it doesn't matter which mutation you have, as long as you have Duchenne. So we do trials that really don't care about your mutations of the utrophin or the myostatin inhibitors. Otherwise, if you want to do exon skipping, you have to have a deletion in a specific area based on which one they're going to work. If you do, Translarna, you have to have a point mutation. And if you do, mini dystrophin, you need to have, so it's kind of, those are the two at this point where it doesn't matter, whichever, as long as you have Duchenne and you have a mutation, then they should be able to. The goal is hoping that those molecules will make a difference and help them, the muscles stay stronger and survive, those
Do you ever get kicked out, like, not accepted for one trial for having certain drugs in a different trial?
Yes, you can, yes, and usually what they'll do in the inclusion criteria, they'll tell you, you have to be, unfortunately now, for every trial, you have to be on steroids. So, you need to be on steroids. Now they're doing ambulatory patients between 4 and 10, or depending on which trial it is. And then, they're going to tell you, you need to be off whatever drug you work for 6 months, 9 months, or 3 months, depending on which trial you're going to.
But in theory, it takes out the fibrosis in the muscles, and the exon skipping is developed for a specific mutation. Those two used together could be very powerful. And
Correct. So Dr. Mendel is like the grandfather of Duchenne as far as treatment and things like that. Has been seeing for the last couple of years that it's probably going to be a combination of two medications. It's not going to be a cure where you take this is going to fix you. Unfortunately, it seems that you're going to have to hit the disease at different aspect of it. And again, it's still early, and we have to wait and see.
Okay, so we don't have any other questions from anybody?
I have one question.
Yeah.
A doctor mentioned something to me, at another forum I was at. Is there and he indicated this, and I just want to clarify, is there do boys have or the natural history, does it show that boys with different mutations have a more severe case of Duchenne than others, based on where they fall?
So, I mean, as I said, in the presentation I said, it doesn't matter where your deletion is and things like that. But people have noticed some, I would say, differences a little bit. So apparently if you have deletions in the early part of the gene, exon, let's say 2 to 8, you tend to have a milder phenotype than if you have it further down the line. Patients with the learning issues tend to have mutations after exon 45, for example. So there's some little things that you can see, but across the board, it's not consistent where you can say, if you have this, you have that. If you have this, you have that. But it's one of those things where you notice in clinic, and kind of, my mentor always told me that as well. But it's not kind of, it's not been studied and published and things like that.
To piggyback off of what he said, at the AdCom that we attended, there were all the researchers that were there and spoke. And several of them touched on what he just referred to, specifically exon 44, seemed to be a milder case. Have you guys looked at doing an in-house study on the data that you have? Because you guys know everybody's deletions. So looking at what you have in-house and saying, okay, let's look at each deletion or each combination and see who's still walking, what age groups are still walking, and see if there's any validity there. Because, I don't know if either one of you guys were there, but these were experts from all around the world, and it seemed to be a pretty common theme that they felt around that range. And my son needs to skip 43, and Gabe's still kind of strong. So I'm just wondering, I'd be interested in knowing if that data would be worthwhile.
Again, Duchenne for me is so variable that I cannot, personally, based on all the patients we have in clinic, I don't see that difference, honestly.
Well, you have some on steroids and some not on steroids and some doing therapy and
Correct.
some, so when you put all those factors in it.
But my personal bias in all this, I think, again, the big thing that makes the major difference for me is not the deletion, it's not the mutation per se, it is the patient's personality. Because a young man who walked until 19 years old, his goal was like, I'm not going in a wheelchair. and he pushed himself to the point even when he reached the end of the rope and he kind of fell and broke his leg. He's like, I'm going to rehab that leg and keep going. And they had to convince him that, listen, man, I think we did now. So I haven't seen it kind of consistently, unfortunately, you know. So, but again, you're going to hear people say that, you know, like you said, the 44, but on the other hand, not everybody who has a mutation in that area is going to look the same, and that's where the problem is. You cannot predict, based on this mutation, you're going to behave that way with great certainty, unfortunately.
All right. Let's thank again Dr. Alexander and Pierre for a great presentation on Duchenne, and thank you very much for great contribution. And please see Jamie for the t-shirts. I think we're going to run out. I mean, everybody had a great question tonight, and sign up for the email listing so you can be in touch for all the other topics that we cover at the Neuroscience Cafe.
And if you don't mind, just before everybody leaves, for those that don't know me, I'm Shay, I'm with MDA, and of course Catherine's with me too, but this is why research dollars are so very key. Just in the past 5 years alone here at UAB, we have granted 4 MDA grants for research right here at UAB, and we have one gentleman who's already on his 2nd MDA grant looking at ALS. So when you look at the grand scheme of things and you say,
MBA
there's
funded
not-
almost $1 million,
yeah,
right?
it's not here.
$836,000.
Yeah, it is. It's right here at UAB. It's in our backyards. Like I said, we just went on a tour Tuesday of the zebrafish in the lab, and it's amazing the amount of, you know, without that research, without